You're about to discover everything you need to know about a Viking longship if you're planning on going on a European river cruise, including what it has and a few surprising things that it doesn't have. Hi, I'm Gary Bemidge and this is another of my tips for travelers. I'm just back from a river cruise on Viking, cruising along the Danube, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to share with you what I learned and experienced about a Viking longship. First of all, what's important to note is that the Viking longship is a ship that they have right across their fleet, and pretty much every single river that you go on in Europe will be on one of these Viking longships. Now, there are a couple of rivers which can't take the full-sized longship, so like the Douro in Portugal, and that has a slightly smaller version. But pretty much any of the rivers, the big rivers, you're likely to be on one of these longships, and very important because they are the same look, the same feel, the same layout. So that's hopefully why this will really help you understand what you can expect if you're cruising with Viking in Europe. The Viking longships take 190 passengers and they have around about 45 crew, so a very good crew to passenger ratio. You have a choice of 4 different types of accommodation on a longship. There's suites, veranda staterooms, French balcony staterooms, and standard cabins. Within suites, there's 2 types of suites. There's the Explorer suite at the rear of the ship. These actually have a separate lounge, a separate bedroom and bathroom. You then have veranda suites, which have a seating area, a balcony and a bedroom area. My favorite cabin type is actually the veranda stateroom. So these have balconies which you can actually step out on, slightly smaller cabin than the veranda suites. The French balconies, these have floor-to-ceiling windows. They don't have a separate balcony, but you do have great views, and of course you can open the windows, get lots of fresh air in. The most affordable of the 4 types of cabins on board is a standard cabin, which is on the lower deck, and this doesn't have floor-to-ceiling windows because actually part of these cabins are underneath the water level, so you just have a small window across the top. There are also a couple of cabins on board which are designed for people with accessibility needs. Bear in mind, on river cruise ships, and this is true of Viking, the cabins are pretty small because you don't have a huge amount of space. What about the facilities that you're going to find on a longship? Let's start at the top deck. So the top deck is the sun deck. This is a big, wide open space. It's the whole length of the longship, and there's lots of seating up here. And there's a few little areas where you can play some games. There's a little crazy golf and some deck games. And it is a really popular social place when the weather is great. It's also a place where people will also come out if you're going through locks. Now, as you pass through the rivers of Europe, you're often going to go through a series of locks. So you'll find if you're going through one of these big locks on the daytime, people will head up out onto the deck and just enjoy and watch the marvel of these phenomenal locks. So the sun deck is a great place to hang out, even if you're actually in port. A lot of people go and sit out there, have a drink, and just soak in the whole atmosphere of the port they're in. The next level down is where you have the real social heart of the ship, and this is in the lounge. The lounge is where you have the bar. It's also where all of your briefing takes place, so the port briefing will take place here, the captain's welcome and farewell party. It's also where all the entertainment takes place. So if there's some local entertainers being brought on board. Also, you have an onboard pianist, so they play often at lunchtime, afternoon tea, before and after dinner. Just before you come into the lounge is the 24-hour tea and coffee making facilities. At the front of the lounge, right on the bow of the ship, is what's known as aquavit. So it's breakfast, lunch and dinner here. Breakfast, it has the early riser breakfast and has a lighter breakfast. Lunch, it's the same as a lighter lunch. In the evenings, it has the same menu as the restaurant. So it's a really popular place to eat, particularly if the weather's great and you're sailing through beautiful scenery. People like to have meals up there. Also on this level, you have a small library and a small computer area where you have a couple of computers if people haven't brought their own laptops or tablets. So the next level down is probably where one of the most important and popular parts of the ship are, and that's the dining room. The dining room is great open space. It's open-seated dining at all times, and it's open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Breakfast, it's a buffet. You have a station where eggs or omelets are made, but you can also order things from the menu, so pancakes, eggs Benedict. Lunch, again, it's also a buffet. Often there's a pasta station, and then you can also order, a starter, main course, and desserts from a menu. For dinner, the menu has 3 real components. It has a local menu, which is very specific to the very specific part of the river that you're on. So a starter, a main course, and a dessert. You'll then have an a la carte menu which changes every day. And then you have the classics, so things like Caesar salad, steak, chicken breasts, that's available every day. Wine, beer and soft drinks are included with lunch and with dinner. The wine and the beer will normally be very specific to the part of the river or the country that you're cruising through. Also on this level, you have the reception area with guest services. There's a very small shop here which will then sell a whole wide range actually of Viking branded merchandise and other things related to Viking or the cruise or the country that you're sailing through at that particular time. Let's talk about some of the things that you will not find on board a Viking Longship. Well, first of all, like all river cruising ships, there is no medical center. So unlike on ocean cruises, there is no medical center. And that's because partly of space, but also on a practical level, these ships are always really close to land and very close to port. So if there are any medical issues or needs, they can connect you with a local clinic, hospital, or a medical practitioner. On Viking, there is no fitness center, there's no spa, there's no hairdressers. So some river cruising companies do have those facilities. Viking Longships don't have those. There's also no guest laundry on board, and this is also true of other river cruising boats. But if you do have laundry needs, you can obviously send those away on board and they can do those for you. Viking Longships are consistent and have the same facilities across the entire fleet, and they have that Scandinavian look and feel. If you want to find out much more about Viking river cruises or river cruising in Europe, watch my other Tips for Travelers videos, because I have many videos packed full of tips, advice to help you make the most of your precious travel time and money.